What up, what up? We are here for our weekly energy oracle forecast. I really liked last night's Secret Teachings of Jesus episode. We're in the Gospel of Thomas, and it never ceases to amaze me. Even though we had a hiatus from Secret Teachings of Jesus for a couple of weeks with full moon, and I think there was something the week before, maybe somebody's birthday or something. But I just think it's interesting because a lot of times the message, most of the time, in fact, the message from Secret Teachings of Jesus ends up syncing up with the coming week's Torah portion lessons. And I won't know it in advance, and I always find out like Sunday when the Kabbalah Center releases like their first videos on the topic for the week to come. And again, sure as day, the portion from last night it was aligned like 100% with the lessons of the Zohar this morning that were the commentary on the Torah and our theme for the week. So I just think that's really wild. The theme being Korah was like the cousin of Moses who thought he wanted to be the high priest and not Aaron. And he thought that he merited the high priesthood more than Aaron did. And he brought it up to Moses and Aaron, and they were like, sure, we'll ask God about it. We'll see what he says. And we're open to change. It's whoever's meant to be in the position. That's who we want in the position. So then Korah had, I guess, been like kind of negatively campaigning against Aaron and doing evil tongue and all of the stuff leading up to this. And so they went and presented the idea to God, and then an earthquake happened and swallowed up Korah and all of his followers. And so it's the message of the week is talking about, in the one hand, like positive conflict versus negative conflict. Some conflict needs to happen in order to bring more unity. It brings more repair because it's bringing out into the open the things that are off and that need to be addressed. But then there is a different kind of conflict that creates more division and more destruction and breaks things down and tears things apart or contaminates something. And so those are very distinct, and sometimes it takes a deep honesty and discernment to figure out where you're coming from in either one. But so the conflict, the positive conflict versus negative conflict, and the other point being that whenever, and we talked about this concept many times too, that when we go after something that's not really ours, that we can force our way into it. We can force that manifestation to happen, but it will never bring true fulfillment. And it will always bring with it a bit of chaos and a little bit of death, a little bit of decay, a little bit of something off. Or it won't stick. We won't be able to hold on to it. And the things that are truly meant for us, like they're part of our destined divine path, part of our unique plan for our life, those things will not pass us by. And we simply need to align with those things by sort of like Michelangelo talks about the David, chipping away everything, all the marble that isn't the David. The David's already there. So we're already here in our perfected state. It's like we're chipping away the programming from the ego that keeps us from revealing that true inner image. So when we compare ourselves to others and we say like, oh, I want that, I have been that person in my life where I have so many things that I can do that many times I haven't known how to execute that or what to do. And so I can see people doing something that I think is really great, and I become a fan of it. And I'm like, man, maybe I should do that thing. Maybe I would be successful at that too. Like, for instance, I still want to learn how to do metalsmithing as a hobby, but I'm not sure if I would ever be a professional jeweler, because this is my calling, right? And so, but there was a point in my life where I was super into following people on Instagram that were jewelers and looking at all this unique jewelry and learning how to make jewelry myself. And it was one of those things where it wasn't meant for my path, but because I saw it and I enjoyed it, it was like the shiny object syndrome, right? Or for instance, like you might like someone who you want to chase after, you want to be with this person because there's so many things that you like about them, but they're not truly a match for you. And they're really supposed to be with somebody else, or maybe they are with somebody else and it just doesn't work out. And maybe you even get a chance to date them, but it doesn't last and it's not right. And maybe even like some chaos comes out of it. It's because it's like you're trying to force something that's not meant to work for you. And you're trying to grab light that isn't yours, doesn't belong to you. Whereas when you do align with something that's on your path and meant for you, even if it's not permanent, but even if it's just a temporary chapter, it like those things come together in a way that has more ease, and then they come together more naturally than the things that you kind of force. So it's a really big challenge to get over our ego and accept when there's something that we want that we know isn't, that we know we're reaching for something that's not really in our movie, you know, and it's allowing ourselves to let go and surrender and realize that we can waste a lot of time and energy and resources chasing after this thing that we know in our heart deep down it's really not ours, right? So I thought that was interesting. It really lined with last night's portion. We covered portion 16 in the Gospel of Thomas. So I thought that was really, really cool. And still looking forward to creating our next edition of Secret Teachings. Right now, the initial first article / video is out. So you can find me on Substack and Patreon, same content, Elizabeth Rose. And then the paid tier, I don't think is titled anything in particular on Patreon, but the paid publication is entitled Secret Teachings on Substack. Okay, so our first card out is Fire. I love this. I feel like we are getting a lot more of our energy and focus and our enthusiasm back. I think that we've been rushing and pushing and putting so much effort forth over the last 2 or 3 years and feeling like a salmon swimming upstream. And I think that we were just getting really exhausted and wary and weary and just sort of like faded. And I think that sort of pressure has lifted a bit. I think that we're over the hump of the major overhaul. And so I think that there's like more of like a feeling of gliding, or like when you get some momentum on a bike and you're like kind of going downhill, you know. And I think that there's a reinvigoration, right? Something happens at work when we're all tired at the end of the shift and we're like cranky and we don't want to take any more tables and we have a lot of polishing and like side work to do. And then as soon as our chef says, all right, we're all in, that means like everybody's got all of their orders in and no more new tables. We're all so relieved and invigorated. And it's like you have this second wind, you have your whole life's ahead of you now, you know, kind of thing. And that's the vibe I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling like the winds of change are blowing and it's a nice, warm, comforting breeze. And I feel like we're getting our enthusiasm and our optimism back. There's a lot of Jupiter influence right now. We just had that full moon in Sagittarius, which was our blue moon. And then we have on Tuesday, we have Jupiter conjunct Venus. So this is amplifying all things beauty, security, love, abundance, and bringing sweetness to adventurousness and depth and philosophy. And so those two planets coming together in a conjunction are making a really favorable aspect and kind of magnifying one another. They're both very benefic planets. They're the protectors and providers of the galaxy. So there's some really good energy to plant seeds from on Tuesday. So I think this can really have potential to get that fire lit again once more. And also in that conjunction, it is a good time to initiate friendships or new relationships or flirt with that cutie that you have a crush on. But this is a good time for bringing hearts and souls together and maybe planting seeds for either deepening relationships or starting new ones. Yay. Okay, here we have, what is this? The Sahasrara, the crown chakra. This is our direct connection to source, to that divine inspiration, that divine light. When we are hit with that sort of like radiance from God, it comes through our crown, and we have language for it now that makes sense. In the past decade or so, people have been using the term downloads, right? And like when you get this hit of inspiration, it feels like it's dropped in and it's downloaded. And that's kind of how it really is when you look at the way that a thought and energy flows through the tree of life. It is like a download, and it comes all the way through our system and our process and our consciousness and all the dimensions of our soul until we birth it forth into a reality. So this would be the primordial point of the thought, the idea, the thought. And now it's about, we've got the idea, so now we have to apply our fire and our grit and our passion to follow through on that idea. And so in order to manifest a thought, we need desire and restriction. Desire gives us the motivation that we need to take action. And restriction is the discipline and the effort that we are able to wield and exert in order to see that thing through, in order to do what needs to be done to pursue that desire. And sorrow. Something about our sorrow. So I think that we're going to see things in a way where we're struck by kind of how sad they are when we see the truth of it. This card came out, I think maybe it was just for me last week in my own personal reading, but I remember there wasn't anything that gave me particularly fresh sorrow this week, but I think I was having a lot of revelation in regards to lifelong sorrows, wounds from the past and things that have been, we've all had carried sorrows through our lives, things that didn't work out the way that we hoped, or relationships that didn't look the way that we wanted them to. And it's sort of like a wound that we carry kind of always, and it's like haunting us a little bit. And so I think that the more that we are able to look at those things and witness them and examine them and observe them in a way where you see the beauty of the way that things worked out the way that they did, and what came as a result of that unanswered prayer, and where you were protected, right, in many unanswered prayers. Who was it? Was it Garth Brooks that had that song, Thank God for Unanswered Prayers? I was never a country music fan, but growing up in Nashville, you're around it. And I always remember that was one of the lines that I absorbed from 90s country. And then we have our sacral chakra here. This is the storehouse of all blessing. This is the where everything comes down from the ethers and becomes like this mixture before we bring it into fruition, right? Just like when we incubate a baby in our womb here before it's birthed, we do the same thing with our thoughts and our ideas and the things that are near and dear to our heart, our desires. So we have the thought here. And we've got this moment where it's brewing, it's getting ready to come forth. And I think that we are transmuting and healing these sorrows. And the more I think that we can heal and have a renewed perspective on the other side of the healing of these sorrows, I think that's making way for even more blessing to be delivered. This is the gateway also through which all things pass. So souls coming and going, leaving and being born. All the blessings that you have in store in your storehouse are here. And so they're waiting for you in this astral realm for the vibrational alignment to be there, right? We can't bring something in unless we are in resonance with that thing. And we have to be in a certain place. We can kind of force things to happen sometimes, but if we do it before, we're really prepared, or before we've prepared a sturdy enough vessel with enough desire and enough restriction, we won't be able to sustain the thing. It'll just, kind of slip through our fingers. So I think too, we also hold shame in our sacral chakra, and the more shame and the guilt we hold there, the more blocked our blessings and our creativity become. And so I think that right now, this week, we have this beautiful chance to have all of this like over the top intensified energy around creativity and beauty and sustenance and abundance with Venus, and it's conjuncting with Jupiter, which is the magnifying influence, right? So I think that in order to get the most of this, if we can heal the things that we perceive as being sorrowful and try to find some kind of perspective on the other side of it that can even lead us to feeling appreciation. And I think on the other side of that, we will unblock the flow of like major blessings. And I think that will add a lot of fire into our passions and into our relationships. And I think it's going to bring in more new friendships and even maybe new romance, new soulmate possibilities. And even like soulmate friend, soul contracts with friend groups and things like that. So very exciting. I'm excited about the week ahead. I think that the energy can be really nice. I think that the intensity of the Omer is behind us. And I think we have a couple of weeks to catch our breath before the month of Av, which is the month of Leo, can be kind of challenging, and Cancer as well. But right now we are still in fun Gemini season, if I'm not mistaken. I believe we are, unless I woke up and 3 weeks have gone by, which can happen. Sometimes I'm like, it feels like time goes by so fast that I lay down to go to bed and I'm like, did I leave? Did I go out of town? Have I been somewhere? Is this another timeline? Like something's amiss. Something's awry. Something's off. Just everything's go so fast. All right, you guys, that is all for tonight. I will see y'all tomorrow for our weekly anchor message, where we will be getting our spiritual assignments for the week. Welcome to all y'all new subscribers. Very exciting to have you. I noticed we've had a real surge lately in subscribes. So just to give you a rundown of the weekly lineup, we have the weekly energy oracle forecast that I film on Sunday night, and you will probably see it Monday morning or late Sunday night. And then Monday afternoon, Monday evening, I film our weekly anchor message, which you either see Monday night or Tuesday night. And then Tuesday afternoon or evening, I film our weekly manifestation message, which you'll see late Tuesday or early Wednesday. And then Wednesdays is our weekly alchemy message, where we unpack how we're approaching the lessons of the week. And then you'll see that again late Wednesday usually, or early Thursday. And on Thursdays, we do our romance oracle reading for the week and tarot reading. And then Friday is the reflection message that sums up the week's lessons. And again, usually I film these the goal is to get them filmed in the afternoon and posted earlier in the evening. But for now, a lot of times I'll film them after work. So they go up late and you'll see them the next morning. And so then on Saturdays, we do Secret Teachings of Jesus. And that's a late night, sort of midnight video. And yeah, that's it. That brings us to the end of the week. So on the Substack, that kind of material will be going into deeper studies of the scriptures, Gnostic, Old Testament, New Testament, the Zohar, any kind of like supplemental writings like Pistis Sophia and the Gnostic writings and things, lost books of the Bible, anything of that nature, anything that involves Holy Scripture. That is the interest of Secret Teachings. Also, with woven in with like deep ancient wisdom secrets that are like foundational spiritual principles and lessons that'll be more specific. It's a similar kinds of things that we always talk about on this channel, but on this channel, it comes up sporadically as it's relevant from week to week, day to day. But this other platform is going to be there. So we have like a database, like a curriculum, a school, or, you know, places where we can go back and look up that video. What was that lesson? When did we talk about this? That kind of thing. So I'm super excited. Can't wait to nerd out even more than I already do. Ciao.